These citizens believe their government has a duty to finally assure the energy security of this country, and they are right.
Trial of the defendant, Ralph White. It is convinced that he is hopelessly and incurably insane, a condition caused by the drug marijuana to which he was addicted. It is recommended, Your Honor, that the defendant be placed in an institution for the criminally insane for the rest of his natural life. Defendant counsel joins the state in this request.
Since counsel for the defense, as well as counsel for the state, seem to agree on this, I see no reason why the request should not be granted.
Yes, that happened right here, to your neighbor. It is not too much to say that in your hands lies the possibility of averting other tragedies like it. We must work untiringly so that our children are obliged to learn the truth. Because it is only through knowledge that we can safely protect them. Failing this, the next tragedy may be that of your daughter, or your son, or yours, or yours, or yours.
Marijuana smoking, experts point out, can make a helpless addict of its victim within weeks, causing physical and moral ruin and death. Should you ever be confronted with the temptation of taking that first puff of a marijuana cigarette, don't do it.
Although people around the world have been smoking marijuana for thousands of years, the custom only reached the United States at the beginning of the 20th century, when it arrived in the Southwest with a wave of Mexicans looking for work.
Piper's Place. Next.
To these poor laborers, smoking marijuana was a way to relax after a long day of working in the fields. But white Americans along the border didn't much like these foreigners or their strange customs. Marijuana, it was rumored, gave the Mexicans superhuman strength and turned them into bloodthirsty murderers. One evening in El Paso, some white Texans were allegedly attacked by a Mexican that went crazy on the killer weed. Moving swiftly, the El Paso City Council passed a law banning possession of marijuana. Supposedly designed to control marijuana, the law quickly became a way for the city to control Mexicans. Unlike the people of El Paso, most Americans had never even heard of marijuana. They were more concerned about the rising addiction to opium, morphine, cocaine, and heroin, which were all serious public health issues. But instead of treating drug addiction as a public health problem, the federal government put control of these drugs in the hands of the Treasury Department, who created the Federal Bureau of Narcotics.
This is Harry J. Anslinger, Commissioner of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics.
The Treasury Department intends to pursue a relentless warfare against the despicable, dope-peddling vulture who preys on the weakness of his fellow man.
America's first drug czar was Harry J. Anslinger. A law and order evangelist, Anslinger would shape America's attitude toward marijuana for generations to come. Like many Americans, Anslinger was a prohibitionist. These morally correct citizens sincerely felt that progress could only be achieved by controlling the depraved impulses of the masses. He believed that if the laws were tough enough, America could be rid of alcohol. Put enough people in jail, and eventually the public will learn to behave. And he applied this same philosophy to mounting the government's war on drugs.
They emanate from the same military doctrine, and this is now abundantly clear when we look at what is called the Project for the New American Century, which is this blueprint of global domination, which was published before the accession of Bush to the White House. It is essentially a blueprint. It identifies the stages of this war. If we look at national security documents going back to the Clinton administration, we have evidence that the war in Iraq was already planned. There's Central Command documents, which are part of military strategy, which say very explicitly, Iraq is first, then Iran. Extending from the tip of Saudi Arabia up to the Caspian Sea basin, you have a region which encompasses approximately 70% of the world's supplies of oil and natural gas. Saudi Arabia, 26%, Iraq, 11% of total world reserves. That is 5 times those of the United States. And this ultimately is the objective of this war. It is to secure access, control, and ownership over these reserves. It's not the only objective, but it is certainly a key objective.
Hemp could also be used for the production of methanol. According to World War II production rates of hemp per acre, we could produce the equivalent of 10 to 15 barrels of oil from 1 acre of hemp. If we use the production rates that are evident in the countries currently producing hemp, we could produce the equivalent of 20 to 30 barrels of oil per acre of hemp. In order to produce the amount of methanol to fuel all of our transportation needs, we would need to plant some 12 to 34 million acres of hemp. This would produce the biomass necessary to fuel our country.
You know what? Rich people, God bless us. We deserve all the opportunities